Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Amarachi Ubani in Lagos. As many as 7,200 Ukrainian service personnel are reportedly missing, and they've been missing since the start of the Russian invasion of the country, so says Ukraine's ombudsman Ole Kotenko. Majority of them, it says, are in Russian captivity. He also said Ukraine's armed forces had earlier reported some 2,000 missing troops, but said the much higher number included members of the National Guard, border guards, and the security service. He hoped that sooner or later they would be exchanged for Russian prisoners of war and returned home. And neither Ukraine's armed forces nor the Russian military have publicly commented on the issue. In the meantime, the death toll from a Russian rocket attack that hit an apartment block in eastern Ukraine over the weekend has risen to 24. Rescuers are still combing through the rubble in search of survivors. Brick by brick, rescuers picked through a huge mound of rubble that remained of a collapsed 5-story block struck late on Saturday in the town of Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region. We'll tell you about that a bit later. This video posted by Reuters news agency showed rescuers lifting a survivor from the ruins to a stretcher. We'll see that in a moment, carrying away the bodies of 2 people in white bags. At least 9 people have been rescued this morning, according to rescue services. Russia, which invaded Ukraine in what it calls a special military operation, denies targeting civilians in this war. But Russia is also expected to focus the brunt of its assault on eastern Ukraine and the region of Donetsk after claiming the capture of the neighboring Luhansk region. Together, the regions make up the Donbass. One of the survivors in the apartment building that was struck over the weekend is Valentina Popovichuk. She woke up in her apartment early this morning by a cloud of dust falling down on her bed. She then ran to the bathroom, only to find herself under chunks of rubble raining down on her from the floor above. According to her, I saw lights, the headlights of rescuers, and I started screaming, "I'm alive, please get me out." The rescuers entered the hallway, knocked down the door and took me out, she said. Popovichuk was among the lucky ones. She was pulled out alive and uninjured from under the rubble of a partially collapsed building hit by Russian shelling. A few hours after Russian shelling hit the city, 3 people were killed, dozens more wounded. An official from Ukraine's president's office said residential areas have been struck when Russian fired rockets from multiple rocket launchers at the city. Russia, which invaded Ukraine on February 24th, of course, keeps denying it's targeting civilians. We have mentioned 3 people were killed, 31 wounded earlier today after Russian shelling hit the northeastern city of Kharkiv. A city's governor says the city, which is the second largest in Ukraine, that the shelling struck civilian infrastructure as well, including a commercial property and a tire repair shop. Videos have been making the rounds online, showing rescuers removing dead bodies from the balcony of a residential block. There are places which had no military significance, he said, and in the 2 children, aged 4 and 16, are also among the dozens taken to hospital earlier today. Kharkiv is close to the Russian border. It suffered heavy bombardments in the initial phase of the war, followed by a period of relative calm, but it has been shattered in renewed shelling in recent weeks. A shelling also was reported in Bakhmut in the Donetsk region of Ukraine. We'll see fire and smoke billowing from destroyed buildings that have been destroyed by the Russian shellings. Pieces of shrapnel also were seen among bricks scattered on the ground and rubble, as you see there. This video, which we're showing you, cannot be independently verified. But the date and the film and the location of the footage, of course, not also shown. But after Luhansk, Russian forces have been concentrating their attacks on Season, neighboring Donetsk province. Ukraine's general staff said today Russia launched a wave of bombardments as they seek to take Donetsk, the other province in Donbass, which has been partially controlled by Russian-backed separatists since 2014. President Vladimir Putin has been calling the invasion of Ukraine a special military operation to demilitarize neighboring Ukraine and rid it of nationalists. Ukraine and Western allies say Putin's war is an imperial-style land grab and has accused his forces of war crimes. Well, the death toll rose over the weekend after a Russian rocket struck an apartment block in Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region of Ukraine. 20 more people are feared buried still under the rubble of the one side of the 5-story building that was ripped apart by the rockets. But in southern Ukraine, your forces fired missiles at the Russian-occupied city of Kherson. One Ukrainian official said a Russian military base was hit, while Russian reports say a hospital was damaged and a house destroyed. The media in Russia says Kherson's air defense system fired back and 4 explosions were heard in the city.
Authorities said at least 15 people were killed as the Russian rockets hit a 5-story apartment block in the Donetsk region. No fewer than 20 people were feared trapped under the rubble. Chief of Staff to President Zelensky, Injure, said on Telegram that the strike was another terrorist attack and that Russia should be designated as a state sponsor of terrorism as a result. A bill to apply this label has been tabled by 2 U.S. senators who expressed their confidence the proposal will be voted through during a Thursday visit to Kyiv. Local officials say Russian rockets damaged the school and a health center for children in Kharkiv, also on Sunday morning. Local residents think Russia targets Ukraine schools on purpose to prevent Ukrainians from learning their own language and culture. Russian forces have been pounding Kharkiv for weeks now, renewing its shelling of the region and the surrounding countryside in what Kyiv says is a bid to force Ukraine to pull resources from the main battlefield in Donetsk to protect civilians from attack. Russia denies targeting civilians in its so-called special military operation to demilitarize Ukraine.